Hey guys, it's me, Tiffany, and I'm here for an update about everything that's happened since the stillbirth of our daughter, Kaylin. Basically, as you all know, we went in at 13 weeks, 4 days to a elective ultrasound and found out that she had a cystic hygroma, and then we ended up going to a specialist after it was confirmed by our doctor and found out that it was a cystic hygroma and hydrops. So it progressively got worse. The hydrops ended up taking over her body, and there was so much fluid around her heart and lungs that her heart ended up just giving out. So we went in on September 19th at 19 weeks 2 days and found out that her heart had given out. And then we were induced the next day on September 20th, which, if you have been following my videos for a while, you know that that was our original due date for our first miscarriage. So there's a lot that happens on September 20th. And so anyways, so I ended up going in early the morning, September 20th, and they gave me 2 doses of Cytotec. I think that's what it's called. And I ended up giving birth at 8:22 p.m. And so we got to spend a little bit of time with her before they ended up taking her off to run some to get some of her tissue for pathology to kind of try to figure out the cause of the hygroma and hydrops. So after they got the tissue they needed, we had her cremated, and I'm sure you've seen in our channel trailer, her urn is about this big. In the picture on the trailer, we compared it to my EOS chapstick, so you can just see how tiny her urn really is. Right now it's setting up in our nursery. So we had her cremated, and basically after the induction, I went home, and of course I was bleeding. Well, about a week later I passed what looked like a part of my placenta, and I ended up having to go in to the doctor, and it turns out that there was still a piece of placenta attached, so I was continuing to bleed pretty heavily. They did an ultrasound and they didn't see any other tissue, but said to call them back if I continued to bleed. They put me on a birth control pill and told me they were kind of doing, I guess, stagger. I forget how they called it, but basically I would take like 3 pills for 3 days, 2 pills for 2 days, and then a pill a day until the pack was gone. And my bleeding should have stopped within a week of doing those pills because of the hormones in them. Well, my bleeding had not stopped, so I ended up calling back and was scheduled for a D&C on October 11th, which was 3 weeks after the induction. So I'd been bleeding for 3 weeks at that point. So I went in for the D&C, and there still was tissue attached, and I stopped bleeding a few days after that, which was good. So I was told to count the first day of my D&C as my cycle day 1 because they cleared me out, and I should have started my period 4 to 6 weeks after that. So 4 weeks came, and I had not started my period. And then I ended up going to the doctor for a follow-up on November 13th, which was at like 4.5 weeks after the D&C. And he said that he would think I would start in the next week, but if not, then he gave me some Prevera to take to kind of jump-start a cycle. So at that follow-up doctor's appointment, we got the results back from pathology, which basically answered no questions. The whole time after we had found out that it was a cystic hygroma and hydrops, that we had kind of assumed that it was Turner syndrome, because 1, she was a little girl, and 2, that's most common when you have cystic hygroma and hydrops. That's most commonly the cause. But it was not the case with us. She had both X chromosomes, and she actually had all 46. So all her chromosomes were structurally and numerically normal. So they don't really know what happened, what caused the cystic hygroma or hydrops. So basically, they're just going to follow my next pregnancy really closely, and they really won't do any further testing or know anymore unless I have another pregnancy that does the same thing. Which is really scary to know that it all could happen again, but we're never going to know unless we try. So that's kind of where we're at now. And at first, Mandy was going to try for a while, and I wasn't going to try until at least April or May to kind of get my body back to normal. But the day after my follow-up appointment on November 13th, I ended up starting my period on my own. So my cycle day 1 was literally 12 hours after her cycle day 1. So we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could both try? So that's what we're doing this cycle. And if you haven't seen our TTC update, our most recent one that we recorded earlier today, I will link it below for you to go check out and kind of see where we're at. But I think that's all I need to update on Kaylin. We really don't know what happens, but we did get pathology results back, and we know that I need to be followed more closely with a future pregnancy. So that's basically where we're at there. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week with a TTC update on what we've done so far. So I'll see you then. Bye.